we're starting late. Oh, we're live.
Are your eyes like totally different?
Yeah, one is -8 and one is -6.
Ooh, that is
It's a big difference.
difference.
And for some reason, I think maybe I put like the same two in my eyes.
like mine are like quarter apart.
Sorry for the
So
sorry.
hi.
Oh God, we gotta turn it on.
Gotta turn down that volume.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
evening.
Is it morning,
Good afternoon.
evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world? Welcome.
To the second live stream already.
Second live
Second
stream.
live stream.
Welcome
First
to
live
the
stream
Ear
for
Show.
us. But second live stream.
First time the old core is together
Yes.
on the live
Yes.
stream. So
Yes. And shout out to Eva.
Hi, Eva.
Eva.
Eva's in the
Thanks,
chat.
Eva.
There we go.
See you.
It's good to have you in the U.S. as well. So yeah, I mean, previously we had only Mary and me on the show, but today we're also joined
We're
by
back.
Jelaine, who's also back from the U.S., back in Korea, and Umio, who's also temporarily in the
I
U.S.
just flew in
Back in
last
Korea.
night.
Just for the live stream.
I just woke up 10 minutes ago. Rolled out.
Some emergency coffee that we're sipping.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're joining, drop a comment so we have an idea of like where in the world are all of our friends
Or not.
or not. Okay.
There's a little delay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Would you like to quickly introduce? I mean, I'm pretty sure most of the people who be here know who you are, but
Sure,
Just
sure.
in case.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, definitely. So my name is Omio, and we're like sitting a little bit further from the laptop. So if you can't hear us or need us to go louder, let us know. My name is Omio. I'm an associate professor at Boston College, and I am a Korean adoptee. Adopted from Holt and lived in Korea last year. If you're saying go louder. Yeah, we were all here in Korea last year, and I just left in the end of July, and now I'm back. I'm a researcher, psychologist by training, and I study adoption. Based in Boston. Anything else?
What are your hobbies when you're not doing when you're not earsing and you're not like doing adoption research and momming? What?
That's it.
What?
That's it.
No.
I'm gonna be honest. That's
Come
like
on.
kind of my
Wine
whole thing.
tasting.
No, that's if I said something right now, it would be me, and I had to do this on the podcast. It would be me being like, I sometimes read. That's a lie. Like
You read your
it's like
children's
no, like
school
I
letters.
would have to make something up right now,
Oh, okay.
and I think this is just my whole life is It's the same thing on
Two kids.
my Instagram feed is like people are like your whole feed is either like the files are going in the fridge. Here are my children. And it's a file that is like, oh, I hear my children. And it's that's because that's an accurate reflection of my life. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
transparency.
Yeah.
But no, what else do I do? Outside.
well, we'll give
Let me think
some
about
time to think about it. Jelaine, would you like to take it over?
I'm Julaine Lee. I was adopted to Minnesota, land of 15,000 Korean adoptees. And I was in Korea last year as well. And actually, Omyo and I met several years ago in Minnesota. And
Yes.
we reconnected last year shortly before she announced that she was going to be in Korea on Fulbright.
We met at a poetry event, right?
Probably.
I have a photo of us at a
Oh, I
poetry
have that.
event.
That photo keeps popping
Yes.
up like timeline.
Yes, we met at a poetry event.
And none of us are actually looking at the camera either. That one.
Oh, I thought it meant right now.
No.
No.
I mean the photo. that
Okay,
she
yes, yes.
And so I just sent her a DM and I said, I will be there as well on Fulbright, but I just can't announce it publicly yet. So I am a data analyst and a poet. And so I was doing artistic research to document our history in Korea because as our population continues to age and mature and Korea continues to send less children away for adoption, our population will eventually someday not exist, as, adoptees. So I think it's really important to accurately document our history. And I think we've seen some of that come out in the last year through documentaries like K Number and the Frontline documentary, and also the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report. So correcting that history and filling in those gaps is really important to me, and EARS has been a part of that. So I am back in Korea now and will be here for the foreseeable future. So if you're in Korea, like, get in touch, and thanks for supporting EARS, and thanks for joining the live stream.
Yeah. Did you figure out what your hobby is anymore?
Oh, I didn't know we were coming. We're circling back again. Wait, do you want to say your hobby?
I have many. I love the outdoors, and I just went biking yesterday by the Han River, and
Yeah, don't you like run every morning as well?
not every morning. I actually did bring I was thinking about getting up and going for a run this morning, but clearly it didn't happen. But I do try and do something active many days per week, because I do not want to. I want to stay active as long as I can, because, like, again, as we age, and I'm seeing this with, like, my parents and my friends' parents that are, like, in their 80s, and it's like, oh, it's it's gonna happen to all of us, but hey, do what we can. So yeah.
Try to stay fit.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of
Stay
sound
healthy.
doing the same.
Well,
Do you want to say your hobbies?
My hobbies. Well, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, hi everybody. I'm Mary. I'm, I guess, the normal one in the group. Yeah.
I don't think any of
I
us
never,
normal.
never,
Accomplished normal.
I don't think anyone ever agreed to that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. I love how they agree with me.
Okay.
But I live in Korea now. I do corporate coaching, but before that, I was an architectural project manager. But usually people don't really care about that. They want to know about the hot dogs. So also a competitive eater for several years. And so my accomplishments include, what was it? Like 14 pounds of ice cream, like 12.5 hot dogs.
Oh goodness.
Oh, 69 gyoza.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's a
So,
lot of dumplings.
yeah, it's a lot of dumplings. I do not eat those anymore.
Oh. Okay.
I can imagine after down to 69 dumplings, you probably never want to touch a dumpling.
Remember that
Yeah.
next time we
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah.
I'll ask
Yeah.
you.
You know what though? There are different kinds of dumplings. So like I can still eat mandu, but I can't eat the gyoza anymore.
Mm.
Just
Okay.
too many memories.
Yeah.
Too many memories.
Good.
Yeah.
That you're trying to block out.
That's my turn.
Yeah, your turn. Reintroduce yours.
So actually, I'm not adopted. I'm the only normal one here.
Oh, okay. Actually,
Controversial take.
opposite maybe.
Yeah, no. Both of my parents were adopted to the Netherlands. So yeah, I kind of grew up in the community, and yeah, that's how I got involved. I actually I think of all three of you, I first got to know Omil as a researcher, and then through Omil, I met up with Julaine.
We
Yeah,
met in
I mean-
2022.
Before as ears,
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
there was a few years gap in
I
between.
met you. Yeah, but I met you in
Yeah,
2022.
as you hosted the panel.
Yeah,
from
and I
Ukraine.
almost had a meltdown during the panel.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, we can talk about that on the.
Okay.
I heard that panel. I thought you all did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a panel in 23 years ago now, 2022.
This month.
It was like the first one out there,
One of
First-
the,
right? For first things
panel
on
that
there, and
acknowledged some generational
yeah, the DOCAT. And that was
difference
Tamura that
and also the DOCAS.
recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it looks like there's lots of you joining us from the U.S. We have Michigan, San
Ooh.
Francisco. We have some
Bay
people
Area.
joining us in the same time zone from Korea, Daegu. So
all over.
quite the international crowd today. Should we dive into some Q&A. Looks like
Yeah,
we're
sure.
already getting some
Let's
pretty
do
good
Q&A.
questions.
We're
in
also
the
going
chat.
to, I'm going to start pouring over some cereal. So I brought some sugary American cereal. This is
Oh,
not
yeah.
an ad.
To
Not-
Korea.
hashtag
We
not
are
an
not
ad.
We're not
sponsored.
sponsored.
We're not sponsored by
actually,
Captain
Actually,
Crunch.
Ears is broke, so
Okay,
we
yes,
don't
absolutely.
if
necessarily.
if Lucky Charms could
promote.
sponsor us, that'd be great. But
But we brought some I brought some sugary
If already
American
has
cereal
a Kellogg's
everyone.
or General
for
Mills
this
connection.
moment.
It is breakfast
Which one
time
do you
here.
want, people?
Ooh,
The captain?
I'll
I'm
take
going with
Lucky
Captain.
Charms.
Oh, Lucky Charms. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I should
Ooh.
try Captain.
I feel like I am going to go crazy and have the mix.
I
Oh.
considered that, but I
The
I
mix,
don't know.
okay.
We'll do one
All
at a
right.
time.
And for Bastiaan, this is his first time, I presume.
Yeah, it's my first time trying American cereal.
Oh my god.
No, it's not. Oh wait,
I
yes,
didn't have
that's
a-
true.
Yeah, I didn't have
You
a bowl
did
that
not
time,
want
no.
to eat
No,
the
no,
red
no,
dye 40 and
no,
the
no.
Lucky Charms last time.
No.
They
Well,
were great. That
Things
was too
have
much.
changed.
That was too much.
Things have changed after spending time with us.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
We're
it turned
positive
into American.
influence.
Okay, but yes, please start the Q&A. I will pour
So-
over some cereal.
It's been about what, 2 months since the last live stream?
Yeah, there's been some updates in between, obviously.
Yes.
Lots of things.
Some
like that.
critical updates.
Some critical updates.
I mean,
We
you
should
summarized it
go-
well, right? I mean,
Yeah, we
there's,
should just go chronologically. So in September 15th marked the day that all of the physical files from the 4 private agencies have moved to the temporary storage facility in Goyeong, which is northwest-ish of Seoul, about at least an hour, depending where you're coming from. So that definitely marks a significant milestone, I guess, even though maybe it doesn't feel like it's not an accomplishment. It's a significant event. And I think one of the things I heard, I have not been to the temporary facility since that, but what I've, just like looking at the pictures and, what I've heard from some adoptees is that like actually seeing all of the files there together, not like literally all at once, just like, it's different when we know the number, 200,000. It's like, wow, that's a lot of people. And even in like some of the bigger Facebook groups, there's like 7,000, 8,000 people. It's like, oh, that's so many, but it's like, it's such a small percentage. It's not even,
Yeah.
not
just
even 5%. So.
clarify there. If you visit the temporary facility right now, you actually do not get to see the archival rack where all the files are stored.
Okay.
So part of EARS has seen that some of the adoptees who came out with us to protest
Mhm.
at the temporary facility, they have been able to see
Mm.
the hall where all the files are stored. So that's also where those statements come from.
Yeah.
But right now, they block access to that part of the archive, saying that it's operational. We have to walk in and take out the files
Yeah.
to scan them and stuff, and so we cannot give access to ordinary people visiting because of the classic privacy
Yeah.
concerns. So.
But
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a significant milestone in the sense that the files are now out of the hands of the agencies,
Yeah.
which is a significant step in the process of, I think, truth finding and figuring out the past without having that noise
Right.
from the agencies interfering in that process.
Yeah.
So
But there are photos of the racks of all the thousands of files that we
Yes.
posted some, and then
yeah.
in some of the media coverage, you'll see those pictures
yeah,
too.
so we uploaded pictures of the temporary site and the transfer process on our website. So if you visit our website,
Here's on at NCRC.org.
there's a photo, a gallery under the temporary archive tab that gives a visual of what it looked like during the transfer process, and also what currently the temporary archive looks like on the inside. So hopefully that gives a little bit of an impression. I actually went to visit to the temporary archive after they started servicing with my mom actually for her file review. And there are some issues currently in that process. The obvious one is that they do not provide a comprehensive actual review of your file at the temporary facility. So you can see your original record, but they warn you beforehand. You get like a 2-page explainer, a disclaimer on everything that they actually are not going to do there, which is they're not going to clarify anything about your file. They're not going to provide a translation of all the content, and any pages containing private information are taken out and not shown.
Mhm.
So any pages containing information about your birth parents or adoptive parents or extended family or third party that
It's a
cannot
little,
consent to providing that information, all those pages are left out.
it's a little
because they
odd
cannot-
though. Like I already know who my adoptive parents are.
Yeah. Say for my mom. My mom was like, I found my family. Like, can I just see all the files? And actually, one of the files that my mom was not allowed to see was some information about Goal and some information about ICA, because there are people from Goal and ICA on those photos or on those pages, and they cannot consent to like giving that information.
Mhm.
So even though KSS collected those photos or that information
Yeah.
about my mother, who was attending ICA,
Yeah.
and was at a Goal event.
Is there a process for requesting certain kinds of information? Because to me that seems
No,
a little
because that doesn't
strange.
fall under the
Seems
law.
extreme.
The law specifically defines what can be requested. So that's where they hide behind. So it becomes a very bureaucratic legal language that they apply in the process, which is weird because you're like, I was there at the event, you know, I was there
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
I'm on that picture. Why can I not see that picture?
Well, and I mean, like
And
I
they-
could post those pictures to their own website, so it's not like
It's the same argument that they use against being birth family, which is, you know, it's third party privacy.
Yeah.
So. I
So-
know sometimes this happens with domestic adoptees in the U.S. where they'll request files and their own names are redacted. Do we have to be concerned about that here?
No. So when you visit the main office
Mhm.
of the NCRC, the main office, they do not have the original record, but they show you the scanned version. So that's where they black out all the private information. So you get
the main office in Seoul.
in Seoul, yeah. So ironically, if you go to visit if you want to see your original file, you get to see less than when you actually go to the main office and see the scanned version, because they can digitally black out the information that they then. So you get all the papers, but then like they can black out parts. And then they say they do provide explanation at the Seoul office. Some adoptees have already visited and they've gotten their file review at the main office. So I have not been able to speak to any of them personally, but I am wondering how that went and how the service is.
Interesting.
There have been some positive sounds online, I think, already about the service that the NCRC is providing. But again, I think this is very much right now in this test phase where it's going to be very much on a case-by-case situation on the quality, because there seems to be a lack of operational manuals on how the staff should be providing service. There seems to be
A lack of staff.
a lack of staff in general, which is also why for a lot of adoptees that are going to request or that have done a request to access their adoption information, their request itself is right now in waiting. It is not processing even. So the moment it's switched to processing, there's a maximum of 75 days that the NCRC has to provide you with your information. But they do not have the staff right now to even process all the cases that they have switched to in process.
Yeah.
And they have a 75 deadline for that. So they're trying to rush and do that as quick as possible. And everything else is in waiting, because the moment they switch it to processing, that 75-day clock starts to tick for them.
And I think people don't know that. That's
People
actually
don't know
a
that.
great
People
point.
don't
be
know
really
that.
clear.
Because
Yeah.
they think once I submit that application, the clock starts
No,
ticking.
no.
But that is not true.
And
So
it's
it's like-
not clear on
Yes.
the
It's
NCRC
not clear.
website.
No.
So it's 2.5 months.
So then
Of
what does the
calendar
law,
days.
what does the actual law say about when that time clock is supposed to start?
So the law is phrased in a way that what they are doing seems to be a very weird interpretation.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what we've addressed. So we are constantly pushing them to fix this
Yeah.
because this is a ridiculous.
It's
It's like-
arbitrary.
it's a
Then it
very
becomes very
arbitrary,
arbitrary. Whenever I
um,
move it to the next
yeah.
phase
Yeah.
is when I start the clock.
That doesn't seem like it would follow any sort of typical protocol. Because, like, if I serve somebody with papers for any other kind of legal process,
Mhm.
or if I send something that has a postmark
Mhm.
date, or I send an email with
Yeah.
like
It
the
starts to head.
that's the documentation of
Yes.
when the time clock started.
Yeah.
So if they're arbitrarily moving this based on their capacity, then the documentation breaks down, and
Yeah.
there's not a way to hold them accountable.
So on our ears Instagram, there is one of our posts has a graph that shows how many cases were accepted in the first week and how many cases were in process. And on that graph, you can see that on the first day they opened, so that's September 16th,
Mhm.
all of the cases that were accepted that came in were either
Mhm.
processed, so they were denied because there was information lacking or they were not eligible, or they were processed. They switched to in process, and then by the third day, they're not processing anything anymore, because that's when the staff is all starting to scan
Mhm.
all the files from the adoptees that have already requested. And there's
They
no
don't-
one to process
They don't
all the
have
applications.
capacity.
They don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
So what we know right now is that there are 6 people working at the temporary facility. One person there is there to provide the whole information, to actually serve as the adoptee that comes to visit.
With the consultation.
The consultation. So in practice, they said that they scan about 2 to 3 files per day. But if you look at that graph as well, by now there's about, let's say, between 15 to 35 cases of requests for information that come in per day.
Mhm.
So they are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That by the end of this month, they're
There's a
going to have
huge
about
backlog.
500 requests
Yeah.
per month.
Yeah.
Which
Or more.
we warned them about. We
Yeah.
warned them
Mhm.
about, you're going to get this backlog because you
Yeah.
stop for 3 months.
Yeah.
Also, you're going to try to service all of the adoptees now, because
Mhm.
previously we had 4 agencies doing
Yeah.
it, and
Mhm.
4, that's 4 times the staff. Right now it's less staff. They need to service more people, but we warned them.
Yeah.
So we've been in communication with the Ministry of Health and Welfare. We've been in communication with the NCRC since the mid-August, I'd
Yeah.
say. I think is when they finally started to respond to our calls. So we've tried to petition with the government, against the government, to take our warning seriously as community members, as experts in the field, to please listen, because what they're doing is obviously going to become
Not sustainable.
it's unsustainable.
But I would also say that we actually have been trying to communicate with them long before that, because the forum that we had in July wasn't it the Ministry of Health and Welfare did not even attend.
Mhm. Yes.
And then the
Yes.
NCRC did attend
Yeah.
and presented, but their responses were
So
not helpful.
And it
so
also has to be
Yeah.
acknowledged that the community itself has tried to communicate
Oh, yeah.
to the Korean government for
Mhm.
years what's
yeah.
needed.
People have been
Yeah.
talking about
So
this.
what we see right now is simply they are not they're not listening. They don't take us seriously.
Yeah.
But now they are listening, and they're finding out how much they are not hitting the mark.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Emily has a really good question. What makes a case or application not eligible for processing? What throws those applications
Yes.
out?
So what they've explained to us is I don't work for the NCRC, right?
Mhm.
So what I
They
know,
are hiring.
they are hiring.
They are
actually.
hiring.
So we know that some cases are not processed because people fill in wrong information.
Yes.
So, for example, if they cannot verify that you are an adoptee, because, for example, you changed your name, right? You changed your legal name,
Okay.
so your current passport
Yeah.
has a different name than the name on which you were adopted, for example.
Okay.
If your last name changed or your first name changed, then they don't know who you are, because currently in the system they have all of the data that the agencies gave them, which all the agencies know your adoptive name and your adoptive last name. If you were
Sometimes.
adopted legally and correctly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be, for the vast majority, they're correctly in the system. So you only have to send in your passport. You don't have to give any of your adoption files even. Just your passport is enough for them to verify and find
But
you
if
in the system.
you got married or changed your name,
Yes.
Like many of us do.
then
Then it becomes a little more difficult. So then it also helps to include your pre-adoptive Korean name and your date of birth, for
okay.
example.
And then
But
all
if any of those do not match up,
Yeah.
for example,
They
and
can't
then you
verify.
do not reply in time, then they might switch your case to denied.
Mhm.
Or if you do a double request. We've also
Mhm.
seen that happen, that that's what they told us. There's a lot of those cases that we request were actually double requests
Mm-hmm.
because there was already a petition running.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know of any other cases and why they would be denied.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
that's what we know right now.
Okay. And then also, Sonamuno is asking about the translation accuracy and if we have any insights into like if the adoptee would like to receive copies of even redacted records, like, do they have the ability to use their own translator rather than NCRC's people
Mhm.
So,
in file review?
Yeah, when
Yes.
you sign up for the file review and when you sign up to visit the temporary archive to view your original file, which again, I need to constantly reiterate this, Stefan, that's different. The file review and viewing your original record are two different things that you have,
Mhm.
different applications. You are allowed to bring your own translator. You're actually encouraged to bring your own translator. So when you sign up through the website, which also, it's a very ambiguous process because you have to log into the English website and then change the website to the Korean version, and there you can make the reservation. Which we finally figured out why, by the way, but I'll tell about that a little later. On that reservation page, it says that you are encouraged to bring your own translator.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah,
They
there's a
don't
lot
have-
of people actually making comments about difficulty with the website and the applications, whether it's like the website itself is just really difficult to navigate,
Yes.
or doesn't always function, or they are having issues with the form actually like submitting and being received or being acknowledged as received.
It's a cluster.
So
one of the reasons why the reservation page is only on the Korean website is what we've heard, is because they asked for a significant amount of money to add that button to the English website, and they didn't want to pay for that, so that's why it's only in the Korean website. It's very weird how they are working together with that company that runs their website.
It's not very 2025.
No, it's
technology.
not. It's not.
Not even 2020.
So
It smells a
someone's
little-
asking, are they in the process of correcting this or what's?
Yeah, so they actually just recently, I think, agreed on a new contract with that same company
Oh, gosh.
to redesign the website. So the entire website is going to be redesigned
For the same company?
by they said by January 2026, but that's probably delayed now. So
it's one hot button.
yeah, but the entire infrastructure of the website is broken.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's
But I mean, like, in the
it's
meantime, it
patchwork
just seems
on. I mean,
very
it's the old
strange.
it's the old CAS website.
Yes.
So that's patchwork done on an infrastructure of a code base that's 2 decades old now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not pretty probably under the hood.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they're going to rebuild it.
Mhm.
What I don't understand is why they signed a contract with that same company that did the bad patchwork over the past decade.
Yeah, you'd think. I am always hearing from NCRC like their complaint that they don't have any money, but then I'd like to see more transparency. Like these should be competitive bids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for a lot of
So-
things, there are competitive bids.
I mean, we probably have enough talented, like, adoptees with some knowledge that could probably rebuild it quickly.
It
Perhaps.
frustrates me though
Yeah.
because it's also like, do adoptees always have to be the ones to fix the problem?
Well, if they can pay them,
Yeah,
I mean, they should be
Yeah.
hiring
Yeah.
they should be.
a web
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, so accessibility is definitely a concern that also, yes, we are constantly addressing. It's the accessibility issue of the temporary archive itself.
And then also in the digital space too.
Yeah, exactly. Because the entire website is not accessible for
Not user friendly at all.
not user friendly.
It's not just user-
And not even
it's like-
talking about the basic fact that it's,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't service the adoptees that do not have any visual or auditory
Mhm.
impairment.
Right.
But if you have any digital
Yeah.
impairment,
That
that
it's not
website is not
configured.
usable at all.
It's not usable.
Which is weird because the Korean government does have a standard.
Mhm.
They have a standard to make your website operational for those who have certain impairment.
Mhm.
And this website, even though it is run by a government agency, does not abide.
Yeah.
Well, it's also
So-
like not difficult because like when I think about my own life, just using regular social media apps or updating my own website, like the alt text is like you just type it in. It's
You can
you
translate.
can
Yeah.
translate things.
Yes.
It's
It's not hard.
It is very
Yeah, they seem
accessible
to be,
now to do that.
Also, talk about money. One of the
They
other
will not
things
do it.
that they do spend money on. So if you visit the temporary archive, you get a little souvenir at the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I think we got the chopstick set.
chopsticks with a spoon.
It's actually
With a
very
spoon.
nice. It's a
I mean,
very
they're,
nice
they're
souvenir.
pretty chopsticks.
Can we like
pretty
take that
spoon.
money? There's like,
But-
look, I don't need a chopstick set.
Mhm.
I already have some.
Can we
Yeah.
have some better translation on the website? Or like, can you just basic when you do an announcement that involves adoptees, can you
Do it in
translate it
English?
into English too?
Friends?
I feel
They
like
have-
every single time that they don't do that, or other languages too, it's like it's an easy. That is an easy win for you
Yeah.
to be able to do that.
So, and then also, we're seeing some comments here. It's like there's not a way to select specific forms or documents.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
All or nothing.
So that is a consequence of the fact that the NCRC doesn't know what documents they have.
Oh, that's
So,
right. Okay.
The NCRC and the law does not specify any type of document because they don't know what's out there. They don't know what's in the adoption files. The only one who knows were the agencies.
Mhm.
And right now they're figuring it out because they have to scan all your files when you do,
Okay.
and they're figuring out some adoption files have like over 100 documents
Right.
because it's this entire
Yeah.
collection of what they collected over
From
the
4
years.
different agencies too, that
So-
have different systems.
Yeah, so you have the difference between the agencies, and then per person there's going to be more or less documents.
And they probably
Simply
change
because
their processes.
Oh,
all
yes,
the time,
yes. The
so it's
agencies
like-
change the processes, also depending on your particular background,
Yeah.
and also what happened after. So if you
Yeah.
had a lot of communication with the agency after,
Mhm.
all that communication is going to
Yeah.
be in your adoption file,
Okay.
and that all has to be scanned in.
Yeah.
So in my mom's case, there was a bunch of like letters that she had sent to KSS and like their response to it. It was also all in the file. So she had a little more documentation. But yeah, that's not specified, and that's also
Right.
the NCRC doesn't know before they open up your file.
Mhm.
Of course, practically speaking, yes, it's insane to ask of the NCRC to have a full like
Catalog.
catalog of
Right.
all
Yeah.
that is in all the 250,000 files that they got, except if they actually had started prepping this earlier
Mhm.
and actually created a process to actually start doing that.
I was
Instead, right now they're incidentally scanning the folders and files
They're
depending
playing
on
catch up.
who is requesting it.
Yeah.
Well,
But they're doing it in a way that it's not systemic,
Mhm.
and they
Which
probably
has
have
been
to
a problem
redo it again
all the
once
way.
we get a proper digitization project running.
like digitization aside, like there were certain documents that had to be provided in order for adoptees to be sent out of the country, right? So at minimum, you would think they'd be able to at least list those, half dozen documents,
Mhm.
and then leave a box for other and fill in what you're looking for. But yeah, okay.
So
that
that's why-
answers a lot.
No, yeah. So that's why they're currently classified under 4 different categories of information that you can request. I think it's in the guidebook.
We actually
We
have
have
a
a
guidebook
scan.
here.
Yeah, so information on the background of adoption, information on the adoptee's birth, information on protection prior to adoption, and personal information of the birth parents at the time of adoption. So that's how it's defined by law.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those are very vague and unclear categories. Also, they overlap in certain aspects. So we also have addressed that issue with them to change the wording in the law.
Where can
And then,
adoptees find
where
this?
can they find this lovely document?
So that's all on the NCRC website.
It is available in English.
It is in English. It's called the Guidance on the Adoption Information Disclosure Request Process and Visit Reservation. It's a little bit of a word vomit on the document itself.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
So
it's a lot.
it's a lot of it's a wall of text that might be a little overwhelming. So yeah, this PDF you can download it from the NCRC website. It's
a
not
lot of-
clear. Even if you read through that wall of text, the process itself does not become any clearer.
No, there's a lot of process loops in there too. So it's like it keeps referring to itself.
Yeah.
And there's not really a solution.
Also,
So
it's the way the entire folder is set up is very Korean in style. So for a non-Korean person to see that, it's not intuitive.
Mm.
Like I can see, because I can read Korean, it's intuitive from a Korean angle. But then if you not change the formatting to make culturally sense outside of a Korean context, it just becomes this wall of English text.
I also
so
think there are
overwhelming.
some limits to that too, though, because the more that I talk to my Korean friends and I ask them about certain things, they're seeing issues with these processes too, and they're not understanding why it's such a problem and why things are not getting fixed. So yeah, there is a little bit of like lost in translation, but I also think that sometimes NCRC hides behind that as a reason of they really don't know what they're doing. Because like when you talk to Koreans, they're like, why?
Mm.
They're so yeah.
Yes,
There's a
yes.
limit.
I mean, so we are currently addressing a lot of these issues together with a lot of Koreans who agree with us that a lot of this is very problematic. So again, this is not a reflection of Korean society per se, but simply this bureaucratic institution that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's good to remember that before we couldn't because it was part of private agencies.
That's
A lot
true.
more difficult.
Yeah.
So I think we are in a place right now where we can address all of these issues because it's the government. Which it's easier to say, hey, take your responsibility and fix this.
Yeah.
Because all of these problems also existed when we was at the agencies. Maybe it was even worse
Probably.
because they could selectively give you or not give you information. Now they have to give you information, but there's not enough staff because there's not enough budget because they didn't request enough budget to hire more staff. But I feel that's an easier bureaucratic issue to solve than fighting single social workers.
Yeah.
Who are
Well,
not
there's more
giving you paperwork.
transparency into it.
Yeah.
There's more leverage for accountability.
Yeah.
So I do think that's positive.
Okay, so the time check is
Yeah.
9:40. Let's transition to talking about the MOU. There's a lot of
Yeah,
questions
there's
about
lots of
that.
questions.
Oh yeah, probably. I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we do that, let's take a quick cultural experience break. I want to know what you think of the
The Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch.
Oh,
So sweet. Your cereal is so sweet.
You haven't even had the Lucky Charms yet.
Yeah, you haven't even
Oh.
had the Lucky Charms. Look, the Lucky Charms turns the milk
Oh god.
like a
green.
very nice
green
green.
color.
I mean, we have
minty
cereal in the
color.
Netherlands, but
It's
I
beautiful.
don't think it's
Beautiful.
this sweet. Like for a small bowl.
Okay. So should we talk about
The
the
MOU.
MOU, or do we want to talk about the apology?
No, we're
and all
getting
that?
lots of
Okay, let's do the
lots of
MOU.
MOU questions.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
time we'll address the apology. And so, what was I was actually out of town when the MOU was signed, so.
So-
MOU stands for Memorandum of Understanding.
Yeah.
And
So the MOU is, it's kind of a promise that we will at some point sign a proper contract. That we have the intention to sign a contract. Can you pour it a little
so it's
more?
like getting engaged, but you don't actually, some people might not actually get married. Right? Well, I mean.
No.
a
It's like the
promise.
conversation you
promise,
have
yeah.
before the engagement.
Oh,
You know, it's
okay,
like
okay.
You're fishing
Wow.
out and you're trying to figure out if the other party actually wants to get married.
It's a little dance.
And you had the little talk where you're like, yeah, we can get married. You know?
Okay,
It's like-
okay.
but you're not properly engaged yet. So we have argued heavily with the ministry and the NCRC and the government. We've sent letters to the president. We have sent letters to the minister. We've talked to at least dozen members of parliament. So that's the legislators about the issues. And
The issues
as a
around-
consequence, it finally became a little bit of a policy agenda item. Because again, normally adoption stuff, let alone the documentation, is not really an issue. Because it's not politically hot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We made it hot.
Yeah.
Because of our protests, because of the media frenzy,
And
they
because of
started
all
to
of
take
you,
attention.
yeah,
Yeah,
30
definitely.
organizations that supported us, thank you, and decades of work that came before. us.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Definitely.
We could definitely, we took that, we built on that, we delivered it, and they actually kind of tried to listen for once, or they felt the urge to come with some sort of solution.
Mhm.
Because there was so much news articles out there posing the same question: why are these files going to a refrigerated Kupang warehouse? And what about all the safety issues? And one of the main issues that got the attention was the sprinklers, because the public and everyone understands, if you're housing paperwork of 250,000 adoptees, the least you can do is not have water running
Yeah.
in tubes above that.
Mhm.
And one of the MPs actually addressed that issue really head on as well, directly asking the ministry, so what are you going to do about this?
Mhm.
And I mean, legislators have that
Yeah.
power and can put on that pressure. So in response, they had to come up with something specifically early October because of the national audit. So the national audit is every year. It's a recurring event in Korean politics where during the month of October for 3 weeks, the National Assembly, so that's the Korean parliament, gets to ask questions to all the executive branches of the government, all the offices, all the organizations that are run by the government. So for us, that means that the MPs, the members of parliament that are in the committee for health and welfare, get to ask questions to the Minister of Health and Welfare and also to the NCRC. Because the MPs were already asking them questions beforehand, they knew if they do not come with some sort of solution beforehand,
Mhm.
that they were going to get the question asked again
Mhm.
during the national audit.
Mhm.
Anything that's asked during the national audit is on the national record, because all the questions, all the verbal answers during the audit, they're all recorded. And then there's that track record. Of course, they need to present something beforehand to have an answer. So that's why suddenly, within half a month, they went from everything's safe at the temporary archive. This is state-of-the-art facility.
Yeah.
We have all these measures in place we've signed a memorandum of understanding with the National Archive, and they're going to take care of all your files now, and it's going to be the national government on a national level, and it's going to be super safe.
So they'll be moved.
This weird
Yeah,
cognitive
they're going to
dissonance.
move
They're going
again.
to move again.
Um,
A second transfer for files.
Well, I mean, there's an
There's
an understanding, there is
that
an
they will be
intent.
moved again.
There's an intent to move the files again,
But there's no
because
plan.
they now understand that the current facility is
Not
inadequate.
acceptable.
The environmental,
They've never admitted that though. There's never been
That's
an
true.
admission
Yeah.
that there's a problem with the current facility. I mean, yes, it was up until like a week before they were still saying like your files are safe.
Yeah.
Do not worry.
So-
It's gonna be okay. Just understand, have your patient's understanding, and then it's like, oh, they signed the MOU.
Mhm.
we know that they actually informally apologized to one of the MPs that we are in contact with. But of course, that they have not publicly apologized to us. And that remains a little bit of an issue, because it feels like they are again hiding,
Mhm.
instead of just publicly addressing the mistake they've made,
Yeah.
and saying, okay, we're sorry guys, we made a mistake, we're going to try to fix it. Instead, it's this weird, confusing narrative now
Yeah.
where, wait, didn't you make this super
Mhm.
duper hyper promo video of your
The
super
video,
duper
I
hyper
know, the vid with the drone and like how beautiful
temporary
this building
facility?
is.
So it's a little ambiguous. I think one of
Yes.
the questions somebody asked me too is like, well, so there's this MOU, but what's next? Because since it is
Yeah.
so well, what's the plan? When are these things? When
And-
is what happening?
Yeah, when's
Again-
the transfer happening?
That is the problem of the MOU and the
Yeah.
way it came to be.
Yeah.
Because this is entirely orchestrated by the higher up politicians,
Mhm.
in the sense that it's the head of the NCRC, it's the head of the National Archive, and it's the first secretary so the deputy minister
Mm.
of the Ministry of Health and Welfare, which are semi-political appointees.
Mhm.
So they just needed a good thing to present in time for the national audit, which also means that no details
Yeah.
are included in the MOU.
Mhm.
The only detail included in MOU is that they are going to have working level meetings to discuss the details,
Mhm.
which means that nothing is set right now. There's no timeline, there's no clarity of who is responsible for what part of this process. Not that we do not welcome this. I think it's a good thing that we're moving out of this temporary
Yeah,
facility.
yes.
I think it's a good
Yeah,
thing
it's a
that the
good
National
thing.
Archive, which has better material,
standards.
better
Yes.
standards, that they are taking or have the intent to take responsibility. I think what is a concern though, and that remains to be seen, is whether the National Archive has the actual capacity and the budget to suddenly take care of 250,000 files.
Mm.
Because as far as I'm aware, there is a backlog already.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
again, they're the National Archive. They
Yeah.
have to take care of all the documents
them.
created by all the
Not just
main
adoption.
government ministries and the agencies.
Yeah.
So if they suddenly have 250,000 files dumped
A
on them,
lot.
that's a lot.
$250,000. And when you say
So-
250,000, that's because it includes domestic adoption.
Yes, that means
So that's-
also domestic.
I mean, we hear 200,000 international adoptees, but this also includes all the
Yeah.
domestic adoptions. as
So
well.
it's actually 170. It's 170 to 180,000 overseas adoptions,
Mhm.
and the other files are all domestic.
Domestic, yeah.
So,
So-
yeah.
My question then is, with that transfer, do the adoptees and the files gain additional legal protections?
Mhm.
Because under Ministry of Health and Welfare, that seems like an administrative kind of process and oversight, where if it transfers to the purview of the National Archives, then that means that those records are of merit, some sort of national significance, right?
Mhm.
Historical
Not
documents.
necessarily.
Not necessarily.
So the reason why they're transferred in the first place from the adoption agencies, if we talk legally, right,
Mhm.
from the adoption agencies to the minister, is because of an addendum to the law,
Mm.
to the adoption law, and the addendum states that to execute the whole adoption information disclosure provision, all files have to be transferred to the NCRC. From the agencies, the municipalities, and all the child protection institutions. So right now, only the agencies have to be transferred. So we're not even talking about the municipality files or the orphanage files, right? There is no legal basis for putting it in the National Archive. Again, the special adoption law states very clearly that it's the NCRC's responsibility over those files.
Okay.
So they know about this issue. So the National Archive has said that they are trying to push for a change in the directives of the Public Records Act.
Okay.
But again, such a legal change can take a year, maybe 2 years
Right.
to put into effect, which, again, there is an intent to change the law to create a legal basis for this process. But there is none right now. They have stated to MP offices who have asked questions to them that they have the intent to have this all transferred by the first half of next year. We've called with some experts, we've called with archivists, we've called with those who work in the industry, who have the companies that actually process documents and sanitize them. They say that's impossible, practically, because you cannot disinfect 250,000 files in time. And that's one of the main bottlenecks here, is that the National Archive requires all the files to be disinfected before they go into their archive, which makes sense.
They actually have standards that they
Because they actually have standards,
work
because
by.
that didn't happen before they moved to the temporary archive. But it's the National Archive. I mean, they don't want all the bugs and the years of building up all the fungi growing in the mold. So that all needs to be disinfected. The problem is that takes either time or it takes a lot of money, or we do not have the mass scale technology in place to process 250,000 files in time. So one of the concerns we have right now is that one of the solutions they said that they have thought of is that they're going to close the doors of the temporary archive, spray in the chemical, wait for a month, and then everything's going to be disinfected. So first of all, the temporary archive is not airtight. So those carcinogenic chemicals are going to leak out into the environment. Second, the particular chemical that they intend to use for that process is known to dissolve film material. So any film rolls in your adoption file or any actual photo material in your adoption file might dissolve because of that. Which again, we can address this issue, and we will probably have a lot of heated debate with them about this. And in the end, they will probably not go through with this. Not that they will admit that it's a mistake. They'll never admit that it's a mistake, but they are not dumb enough to actually then go through with this.
In case it does happen. And
In
then it's
case it
on
does
record
happen, and
that we
then
were
it's
like,
their fault.
we said this
So-
would happen.
So,
We can prevent this from happening, but again, it just merely shows how unprofessional they are, how such a lack of in-house expertise they have, and also the lack of trying to get the expertise necessary to prevent these kind of statements to come out in the first place. Because again, if we can figure out that this is probably not a good idea, can't they figure it out before they say that to one of the MPs?
We're not archival experts
Right.
either, right? Like,
But it's
we
like
can
common
figure this out.
sense.
This is knowledge that we can
Yeah.
figure out.
but then I looking at the building itself too, just thinking on their proposed idea of just spraying the chemicals in and closing the doors, like that's not how like ventilation systems work in a building.
No.
And I'm thinking, well, like Coupon uses the other floors. Like there's the horizontal things that you see on the ceiling, but then there's also like a whole vertical air circulation system. Like I don't want my Coupon food order to have
Dumplings. I know.
all the pieces of my
I know,
dumplings.
Yeah, and another issue is
Have all of these chemicals.
the skill. Because, okay, let's say they're able to process those 250,000 files by, let's say, a year and a half.
Yeah.
I think that's a more
I think
realistic
that's-
estimate,
Yeah.
right? Because they have to put them, they probably have to hire private companies to process the files, and that's going to take months.
Yeah.
Proper disaffection, it takes about 4 months per batch.
Mhm.
So that's just going to take a while.
Yeah.
But then again, we still have the files from the municipality
Right.
Yeah.
and the files from all
The
the
orphanage.
orphanages.
Yeah.
So can you explain? We do have a question about what that is.
What do you mean by
because
the orphanage
because-
files?
Oftentimes when we talk about adoption
Mm,
records, we talk
yes.
about going to Holt, going to
Mhm.
KSS or Eastern, but we
Yes.
don't always talk about orphanage files, municipality files.
Yeah.
So
So a lot of the files that we normally talk about, yes, again, they are the files held by the adoption agencies, but the adoption agencies only have the file record from whatever happened after you came into the agency or you came to the sites of the agency, right? But you're not like born at an agency.
Thank
You do
goodness.
not just like end up there out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it's either through an orphanages, either through an orphanage or some municipality office or some kind of child protection institution before the adoption agency, and that actually then puts you in the agency.
Yeah.
The only exception to that is if you were directly put there directly from a clinic. But the clinic
but then
files
it's-
will never
Yeah.
But then
be
you'd
part of that
still
transfer.
very likely have like an orphanage or adoption facility file somewhere because you didn't physically live for a lot of adoptees, most adoptees, like they didn't physically live at the agency.
So that's not
But-
that's difficult to say actually. The adoption agencies themselves also had housing.
Homes, right.
They had homes.
Right.
So some children were directly dropped off at those homes,
Mhm,
and then
mhm.
that's where the paper trail starts.
Mhm.
For a lot of other people, their paper trail starts at an orphanage, or the paper trail starts at a municipality facility. So, or for some
Police
other people, it
station.
starts at a police station. Some other people, it starts at simply at a birth clinic or at a single mother home. So, of all those diverse routes and where your paper trail can start, what's included in the law to be transferred to the NCRC are the records held by the municipalities in terms of adoption records or orphan records that they have related to adoption, and the records of the known facilities that have transferred a lot of children to the adoption agencies. So a lot of those have closed down, but their records are housed by either other existing child protection institutions, or they're actually housed by the municipality offices, or they're gone.
Yeah.
They're in some kind of attic somewhere.
And there was a
Right.
separate digitization project that did not go well a few years ago to try and move some of those records, right?
Yeah. In the past 10 years, they have tried to digitize as many of those orphanage records of the facilities that already closed down. But there seems to be some corruption in the process, some mismanagement. Some hard drives were lost, information put into the digital management system is incorrect. They did not acquire the original records themselves, so they have no way to verify and double check the information. So a lot of mismanagement, and again, we see that right now again. It's a lack of in-house expertise. It's a lack of actually trying to get that expertise to manage the process. And one of the professors that we work with, Professor Kim Tae-yeon, from the Hamburg University of Foreign Studies, who is professor at the Graduate School of Information Studies, so archival science. He calls that the rough edges of the bureaucratic process. What happens if you do not actually get the necessary archival expertise in-house, or do not contact them, because they're out there in Korea. And he's seen this multiple times when a government office tries to do some archival project. But
They don't know
they
what
try
they're
to
doing.
do that from a bureaucratic angle
Yeah.
instead of from the archival expertise angle.
Right.
And then it's the bureaucrats who are just interpreting the law the way they want to. And you end up with a very rough process with a lot of caveats and mistakes.
Without enough nuance.
So I'm going to check the time.
Yes.
It is 10, and your marshmallows, your Lucky
Oh,
Charms
yes.
marshmallows are getting soggy.
So
It's very
maybe
blue.
I think one question just to wrap up that I have gotten a couple times is, how are we supposed to feel about the MOU? Right? Is this is it like yay? Is it a positive thing, or is this a concern? I think there's like so much emotion too with the whole first transfer. So then to hear that there's been a second transfer, people are just wondering like, what do I feel about this?
Well, I guess
I mean, like,
you know,
add your comments too. We'd love to hear your thoughts
Yeah,
on how
and
you're
I-
feeling.
I guess I hear that a lot. You know, how to feel.
Yeah.
And I saw that a lot with the shutdown of Chinese international adoptions last year. A lot of Chinese adoptees were saying, I don't know how to feel. And I see that sometimes with other adoptees, there's people in general, like how to feel. And it's like, because I think sometimes, especially as adoptees, we're programmed to perform gratitude. We're programmed to perform a certain way because we were saved or whatever. So it's like, how to feel. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to feel, and how you feel today may change, and that's not right or wrong. It just is. You know, it's like if you lose somebody very important to you, you're gonna be sad. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, nobody's gonna, hopefully people don't question that. So it's like, I guess one thing I find very useful in times of ambiguity, because I feel like, yeah, this is good, but it is ambiguous. So it's like getting together maybe with a few trusted friends, whether they're adoptees or not, and just talking it through. Have a beer, have a coffee, whatever. I think being alone in these moments, I think for me, that's not helpful. I know that there's certain times where like, this is a time I don't want to be alone. So just like calling up a friend, like, hey, let's just have coffee tonight or this afternoon, whatever.
It's usually ice cream too.
Well, ice cream, you know, yeah, it's like everything deserves ice cream, right? But I think
Just quickly to answer some questions in the comments before we move on. So other facilities and local community centers are city halls, so any municipal level administration, because it depends on what level who took what file in. So I think the NCRC did send an official notice to all levels of municipal government to start documenting and tracking what adoption-related records they have. So I think that was sent out last year.
Like examples.
And what all adoption files were moved to temporary storage. But yeah, so only the adoption files from the adoption agencies right now have been transferred to the temporary storage.
And that would be Holtz, KSS, SWS, and Eastern.
Yes, so those have all been transferred. I mean, in terms of, as someone who like deals with the MOU and the MPs on a daily basis, for me, I think it's a sign that the energy and effort that we're putting into this advocacy is paying off. On the one hand, so the government could have flat out ignored all of us, and it could have left it in the temporary storage. So in a way, it is good to see that what we're doing has some effect,
Yeah.
some ripple effects. Is this the ideal solution? Absolutely
It's
not.
not the solution.
So again, for the long term, they need to build a dedicated archive. They need to build a facility with expertise in-house, outside expertise to advise them.
And there's still planned to happen. I think some people are wondering, or have been wondering,
I mean-
does the second transfer mean that's not going to happen? But the intent is that is still a plan to happen.
So like I feel cautious optimism. So it's
Yes.
like I think this is a positive step,
Mhm.
but there's a whole lot more steps
Yes.
that need to
Yes.
happen to
Yeah,
get
we
where
need
we
to
need
know.
to be.
Yeah.
So it's not a negative thing, but it's also not entirely.
I mean, it's an unfortunate middle step that had to be taken
Yeah.
because of the mess that they created.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was entirely preventable.
So it's hard to be like,
Yeah.
yay.
It's hard to, it's very hard to like
Yay.
be very applauding this and be like, oh, it's so happy that right now the National Archive, because there's still so much ambiguity as well.
Yeah.
Because the National Archive itself, those who are actually working for the National Archive itself, they don't know what's going to happen
Right.
Yeah.
because they're higher up. Their boss said that he wants to take care of those files. Everyone who actually works at the National Archive, they're like, what?
How are we gonna? Yeah.
You
What?
what?
WTF?
It's always the details.
And then they look it up, they Google, they're like, sir, this is 250,000 folders.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we have the
Yeah.
space, right? And they're like,
Budget,
I
timeline,
don't do
plan.
it. So there's still a lot of ambiguity there to outright cheer this on as
Yeah.
the move per se.
Yeah.
But in terms of, I think, what EAR stands for and how much we've worked, I think that's something positive.
Yeah.
It shows that we can have a positive effect.
And that's
That things can change.
and that's
Things
only
can change.
Things
possible
are,
with
can change.
that's only possible with 200,000 of
Yeah,
us
people
like,
have been
coming
pushing.
together.
In
It's
their
not
cities,
just the four of
their
us.
places,
It's all of
everyone's
you.
been pushing.
Yeah, staying informed and informing others too, and not just informing not just adoptees but others that can be allies too.
Yeah, people have
So.
shared things, they've contacted consulates. It's,
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah, a lot of
A
people have gone
community
to
effort.
consulates. We've had the experience survey recently,
Yeah.
so
Thank
a
you
lot
for-
of you filled that out as well. So
Yeah.
um,
The
when
audit is coming.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, so
Tuesday audit.
upcoming, Tuesday is the national audit of the NCRC.
Yeah.
So I think
See you there,
we
NCRC.
hope to see that the
Yeah.
MPs will be asking critical questions.
we did have an earlier question about like who are some of these MPs. Well, when we first started, there were only a small handful, like 3 or 4 MPs that were even interested in this. And as momentum has built, we now have double-digit numbers of support. So it's not necessarily just like one specific person anymore, and that's great. I think.
I mean, again, it kind of shows how this issue is not a political one. It really is this bureaucratic mess up.
Mhm.
So it angers everyone
Yeah.
if you tell them what exactly happened.
Yeah.
because-
Well, and it should be noted too, it's like across party lines
Yes.
too. There's multiple parties
Yes.
whose representatives are asking questions about what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay. Did we address?
we answer
I think,
everyone's
most
questions? I think
questions?
so.
and we are having
What are we hoping
another-
to get from the national audit?
Do we take that as the last question?
Yeah, let's take
So
that
we
as the last
do
question.
have another live stream session at 4 p.m. Korea time today because we know that sometimes, like right now, I think it's like the middle of the night for Europeans.
Yes.
So
Feel free to come to
Join us.
everyone. We'll be eating something different.
I think for the
Answering the same
national,
questions.
just to answer the last question
Yeah.
for the national audit. I mean, it's mostly to have what we've addressed here today,
Mhm.
hopefully on public record,
Yeah.
right? Hopefully that it's part of Korea's institutional history
Mhm.
and that it doesn't
disappear into
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
to nothing.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to see also a layer of accountability
Yes.
because we do have the MOU, but once this discussion is on public record and part of like the larger assembly and national awareness, then there are more vehicles for accountability. Like, okay, well, MOU is great, but we need a plan.
Yeah.
Ministry of Finance has to allocate money,
Yeah.
and Ministry of Health and Welfare has to look at policies and other changes that need to be made in the adoption laws. So what I'm looking for in this round is just another layer of eyes, accountability to do the next step,
Yeah.
transparency.
Yeah,
But also in a broader systemic way, right? It's addressing the entire adoption law that leads to this. It's
Yeah.
addressing why Korea plans to send out children and why Korea plans to adopt children themselves.
Yeah.
Which again, I feel it's all connected to each other.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
this anonymous birth bill. It's
Yeah.
it's the way we spend like 700 million, 7 billion, 700 million won on promoting domestic adoption. That's enough money to support 300 to 400 single parent families.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you could prevent so much children given up in the first place
Yeah.
instead of promoting domestic adoption in
To
Korea.
support the families to stay together.
And again, it's all part of that same kind of attitude towards adoption in Korea. That as a consequence, we have these bureaucrats with particular attitude that service or feel that they're forced to service us, and they feel that that's not part of their core task. Because that adoption narrative right now in Korea is still so limited to this particular frame of, oh, we have to save those children by putting them up for adoption. Oh, and now Korea is like, oh, we're rich. We need to start adopting from the Philippines, Mongolia, and Thailand, which is
Insane.
mind-boggling,
Yeah.
especially in light of the whole TRC results.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh yeah, we just recognize that
And
Korean
put
adoption
the
is
same agencies in charge.
it's a human rights violation. Oh, so right now the government is going to start being responsible. Yay! But we're going to be responsible by importing children.
They can't even be responsible for their records. Like,
So-
let's start with that first.
Yeah, I mean that's all tied together.
Yeah.
And the hope is that during the national audit,
Yeah.
all those issues will be addressed.
Yeah.
In that comprehensive manner.
In a very public space, and so they'll be documented.
Witnesses.
I think, in the beginning for years, I used to say it's just about the files. We're just about the files. We have one issue. Let's focus on this one issue. But it's never just about the files.
Yeah.
It touches on so many issues that are rights violations, who we are as people, as adoptees, our standing in Korea. And we can't just be about the files. The files are a huge part of it.
Right.
It's
Right.
really
They're proof.
kind of
They're the proof.
it touches on all these other issues.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
See you next time.
Bring your snacks next time.
Yeah.
Send us your snack recommendations.
Have a good weekend.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.